Welcome to video lecture. Myself Ashwini R.K., Assistant Professor, Civil Department, Rohini College of Engineering and Technology. Today we are going to see about the defects in rails. So first of all, we should know what are the parts of rails where the defects are noticed. So the various parts are the head, web, foot, switchboard, wells and bolt holes. Causes of defects in rails: residual stresses induced during the manufacturing process, cooling, rolling, gas pressing, etc. Defects associated with faulty welding, that is, gas pores, lack of fusion, cracks, etc. Dynamic stresses caused by vertical and lateral loads. Excessive thermal stresses due to variation in rail temperature. Some of the rail defects are corrugated or roaring rails, corrosion of rails, wear of rails, creep of rails, hogged rails, buckling of rails. Corrugated or roaring rails. In certain places, the heads of the rails are not found straight but corrugated with a wavy surface. Such rails are corrugated rails. When the vehicle passes over such rails, a roaring noise is caused, hence also refers to as roaring rails. The picture you can see the corrugated rails. Causes: coning of engine wheels, high-speed trains, slipping of wheels of engine, sudden application of brakes, use of light wagons and coaches, use of soft ballast, use of high tensile strength steel. Effects: produce discomfort to the passengers, leads to overall deterioration, disturbance in ballast bed, loosening of anti-creep devices, increase the fuel consumption, increases the maintenance cost. Remedy: the only remedy action in practical is to grind the corrugation of the rails by special machines. Corrosion of rails. Corrosion of rail is mainly due to the presence of damp condition, usually seen in active industrial areas, wet tunnels, etc. In the picture, the corrosion of rails are being shown. Effects: rail section is gradually reduced. Fatigue strength of rail is reduced. If corrosion is not prevented, it may lead to failure of rails. Prevention. Quality of rail. Rail prepared from special steels and steel alloys are used. Surface treatment. Rail surface is coated with non-corrosive materials such as paint, special paints, red lead, bitumen, coal, tar, etc. Wear of rails. Depending on the location, the wear of rails can be classified as wear of rails on top or head of the rail, wear of rails at the end of the rails, wear of rails on side of the head of the rails. Wear of rails on the top of the rails. The metal from the top of the rail flows and forms a projection. So in the picture you can see that. Causes: rails are worn out due to the abrasion. Heavy load concentration on very small area results in flow of metals. Impact of heavy loads, grinding action of the sand particles between the rails and the wheels, corrosion of metal of rail especially near sea area. Wear of rail at the end of the rails. At the expansion gap, the wheels of the vehicle have to take a jump. They impart a blow to the ends of the rail. Due to successive blows, the end of the rails are battered and wear occurs. So in the picture, you can see the wear of rails at the end of the rails. Effects: fish plates and fish boards become loose. Contact surface between rails and sleepers are worn out. Sleepers are at expansive joints are depressed due to settlement of ballast. Wear of rails on sides of the head of rails. This is the most destructive type of wear, occurs when the tracks are laid on curves. So in the picture it shows the wear of rails on the sides of heads of rail. Causes: the pressure due to centrifugal force causing grinding action of the wheel flanges on curves. The vehicle do not bend to shape of the curvature while moving over a curve. This result in wear of wheel flanges. Slipping action of the wheels on curves. Prevention: use of special alloy steel, good maintenance of the track, reduction of expansion gaps, use of lubricating oils, use of head hardened rail. Hogged rails. Rails which are bent vertically at the ends are known as hogged rails. They are formed due to wear of rails on the end. So in the picture you can see the hogged rails. Remedy: hogged rail should be removed and replaced by new rails. The end portions of the rail is cut off and fresh holes are provided for fish plates. Welding the on end of the rails. Hogged rails can be straightened by the dehogged machines, consist of a bottle jack, a length of old rail and two sets of clamp. Buckling of rails. It means the track has gone out of the original position. It happens on the curves when the expansion of rail is prevented. Insufficient expansion gaps and excessive tightness of the joints are main causes. Prevention. Expansion gap should be sufficient. Fishbowl should not be tightened up to an extent as to prevent the expansion or contraction of rails. Contact surface between the fish plate and rail should be lubricated periodically. Precaution should be taken to reduce the creep. Thank you.